This week's Look at Local Sports sponsored by 315 Local Bakery and Diner, Alexandria Bay.
Hey, thanks for joining us once again as we talk local sports. Mel Bustler, Rob Cronin, and I'm thinking to myself, Rob, we got to come up with a name for this podcast, don't you think? I mean, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
How about the podcast? like the Ohio State.
I like that.
Welcome to the podcast.
That's right, the.
This is the only one you need, and it's brought to you by 315 Local Bakery and Diner, located in Alexandria Bay. Not only do they support this fine endeavor that we're doing with the help of Ashley Seabolt at the controls, but also they're doing our sports picture of the day. That'll be coming up. They're going to be sponsoring that every night. So
Very nice.
If you've got a young kid who plays sports, an older kid, you got a grandfather who's still running the 100-yard dash, take a picture of him, send it in, and we'll put it on 7 News.
Yeah, and unlike our sportscast where we have so much to cover and we just focus on varsity sports.
Yep.
This picture of the day could be anything. It could be Little League, could be T-ball,
Exactly.
like you said,
Exactly
anything.
right.
So
yeah,
send it in.
so start taking your pictures, send them in to the TV station, and they're going to get on the air courtesy of 315 Local Bakery and Diner in Alexandria Bay. Coming off a vacation week, not a lot of activity. Things have started up again. The weather a little gnarly earlier in the week, but South Jeff lacrosse has remained undefeated in girls play. They've won this week. Watertown won again, so they're playing well, and it got me to thinking. When you associate schools and sports, when you think of South Jeff, is the first thing that comes to mind to you girls lacrosse?
It is now. 15, 20 years ago, it would have been girls basketball.
That's very good. Yeah, Pat Bassett.
Absolutely. And, conversely, you talk about Watertown boys lacrosse 15, 20 years ago, you would have thought Carthage boys lacrosse with Kirk Venaquatro at the helm and, the Powell brothers playing.
Well, and that
the Kaufmans.
Yeah, that brings up an interesting subject of schools associated with sports and also great athletes to come out of the area. Now, we cover a 3-county area, so I guess you can include Lewis County, St. Lawrence County in this. And I was the first thing that came to my mind were the Powell brothers at Carthage and Carthage lacrosse under Kirk Venaquatro at the time. I mean, they were, when you think of Carthage, you thought boys lacrosse and you thought the Powells.
Right, and, it never dawned on me. I remember going out during the summer. Kirk Venaquatro was holding a lacrosse camp, and the guest speaker was Roy Simmons, who was the lacrosse coach at Syracuse.
Yep.
And, he was there to check out the Powell brothers, the Kaufman brothers as well. A lot of great Carthage lacrosse players went on to play Division I at Syracuse and win national championships.
Yeah, I mean, probably the best one of the bunch may have been Mikey. And Mikey, he was a great lacrosse player. He was focusing on other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
On his music career.
Yeah.
On the other 2 guys, Casey and Ryan, I mean, they were diehard lacrosse players. I don't know if for Mike it was as important.
No.
Although he was exceptional at it.
He was. He was great, and just watching the Powell boys from Casey to Ryan to Mikey, that was a great run in local high school sports. And you want to talk about lacrosse at Carthage. A couple years ago, did a story on Salisbury State lacrosse with Coach Berkman down there, who's won several national championships, North Country native. And I did a little digging. He had Jason Kaufman as one of his star players. And at the time that I did the story, Jason Kaufman was the all-time leading scorer in college lacrosse history, Division I, II, or III.
Yeah.
total points.
Yeah.
And he was a great lacrosse player.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just the Powells. It was the Kaufmans that came out of that school, and Dingmans, and you can
Yes.
go on and on with different names. And not now. If you want to relive those days of Carthage boys lacrosse, they actually have at Caskinets Ford. They have a wall. That's a Hall of Fame wall for Carthage boys lacrosse. So you're able to, and not just the boys too. I think the girls.
Yeah,
they included the girls in it too.
Yeah, because last summer, I believe, I went out to Carthage. I think it was to the Elks, and they had their first annual banquet where they had all the players, that they were going to induct in the first class, and hang, I think, plaques or pictures on the walls at Caskinets. So yeah, I mean, Coach Venaquatro really wants to encapsulate and, keep the history of Carthage lacrosse alive, and that's one way that he's doing it.
You would talk to him about his contribution to it, and he'd kind of poo-poo it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he didn't really want to accept the plaudits, but if it wasn't for Coach V, we wouldn't have the legacy of Carthage boys lacrosse. I mean, he built a program that not only contributed plenty of local talent, but also for Division I colleges with the number of players who went D1.
Absolutely, and right around that same time when Carthage was at its height in high school lacrosse in the state, don't forget the Carthage girls lacrosse team. Sue Gallagher did a great job with them and sent a lot of players on to play Division I. A lot of them going to Syracuse as well.
But it's amazing how one coach, one personality can change the whole direction of a program.
Yeah.
All right, Beaver River. What do you think of when you think Beaver River?
I think Coach Giordano.
You call Coach Giordano? Well, yeah, you go back a ways.
Basketball.
And basketball.
Yep.
I kind of veer towards cross country because they were always.
Yes.
They've had so much success on the course with not only regional titles, sectional titles, stuff like that, Frontier League titles, but state titles.
Yeah, don't they hold the record? I believe they hold the record for most state titles in cross country.
Right, and that is carried on even though they've had different coaches.
Yes.
Over the years. It's just that they've got kids who are dedicated to that sport. And we talked about South Jefferson a little earlier. The girls' cross-country program at South Jeff is making a mark. And they're on the rise, and they're having a lot of success. So, but when I think Beaver River, that's usually what I first gravitate to is the cross-country because they were so.
You're right,
good.
but you mentioned Beaver River. I don't know. I just think Coach Giordano.
Coach Giordano.
Because I can remember going to the games and shooting the games, and he'd be stomping his foot on the court and yelling at the players. And great coach.
A great coach, great personality, and was very successful with Beaver River basketball. That's for sure.
Yep.
Other schools, other sports. Does anything pop up to you that?
Sandy Creek.
Sandy Creek softball.
Yep. Girls softball.
Well known for softball over the years.
Pat McDougal and then Bill Fowler, carried on the tradition. They won some state titles as well. Let's talk IHC soccer, girls soccer.
IHC soccer under Kurt Robbins. Yep. Kurt Robbins with the soccer program. I mean, there was many a cold November day where you'd be outside with a camera shooting that team in action as they went for titles. But you're right, and his daughters contributed
Caitlin,
to that program.
Yep, yeah, he had some great players, and a lot of them were his daughters, as you said, and talking about boys soccer as well. The boys soccer team also had a good run up there, and the girls basketball team. Under Jeff St. Croix.
Yep. How about boys hoops, Sackett's Harbor?
Yes.
I mean, and you did a story on
Jeff Robbins.
Jeff Robbins, who just is stepping away. He's got some kids coming up that probably he wants to be a little bit closer to,
right,
and watch their career blossom. But I think of his teams. First of all, I think of guard play.
Yes, and Jeff Robbins.
And Jeff Robbins was one of those guards. Charlie Bridge Jr. I mean, they were great players over the years, and it always seemed like they had a great shooting guard, somebody that could carry them, to postseason glory.
I remember going to shoot one of their sectional games, I believe, in the old gym where you'd walk in and you'd be standing right on the foul. And I think that night, I think it was against New York Mills, Jeff Robbins scored something like 60 points in that game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was a great player. And as you said, you talk about Charlie Bridge Sr. as well, who, kind of brought that program to prominence, and that's what Jeff told me in the interview. He said, if it wasn't for what Charlie Bridge did, he would have never had the success he had because, Charlie kind of brought that program up and brought it to the level that, it's been at for the last several years.
And, of course, the crown jewel was that undefeated season that led to a state title.
And I think they beat Harrisville was it Harris or Madrid Waddington? It was a Section 10 team they beat to win that state championship and go undefeated.
You mentioned Harrisville. I mean, boys basketball under
Coach Colony.
Coach Colony. I mean, he's had plenty of success over the years. Section 10 always had good runs by a lot of teams in different sports. I mean, not just in basketball, but where they would be in contention for state glory. I think of those OFA basketball teams of Bill Myrna.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, going up to Maxey Hall and watching them dominate year in and year out.
Yeah, so OFA, I mean, you think OFA, boys basketball, OFA football, too.
Yep.
Indian River football.
Won a state
I would
title.
I would think the Wolves, former Warriors, would be a team that would fall into that. What are they noted for the most? And the football program. I think
Corey Marcel has done an amazing job with that program over the years, leading them to a state title. And you talk about football, when you think General Brown, you also think you think girls basketball too, but you think football and what Doug Black has done. He's taken them to the state championship game.
And his predecessor, Steve Fisher, who basically built that program from the bottom up. So I mean, you're right. You're right. General Brown football has had their share of success over the years, and it's amazing. I mean, just certain schools, and I don't know why. Athletes kind of gravitate towards a certain program at the school, and that's how they have a great deal of success.
And you talk about Section 10, and Ike Bogosian came, and you had Jim DeShays, you had Tom Browning, pitcher from Malone. And back a little further.
Through a perfect game, by the way.
Yeah, and back a little further. I mean, this was before my time, and you were proud just around your time, too, from Canton.
I may have had hair.
Hal Cohen.
Who
went on to play at Syracuse.
Who, by the way, didn't he make like 500 or 600 free throws in a row or some crazy thing like that? I think he became like a doctor or something.
He did,
that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Hal Cohen with Syracuse. Yeah, Ike Bogosian, co-captain with Joe Morris with the 1981-82 football team. At Syracuse. So, Ike, and then his son, Zach.
I was going to say,
son Zach, who ended up playing professional hockey in the National Hockey League. So he didn't fall far from the tree as far as athletic ability is concerned.
No, a lot of great athletes coming out of can't forget Craig Conroy.
Craig Conroy for hockey.
Yep.
Tremendous. As a matter of fact, one of my early athletes of the week was Craig Conroy. High-pitched voice, and he looked a lot different than he did, playing for Calgary. But
and he got drafted by Montreal, right? And then got traded. Played for the St. Louis Blues for a while.
Played for the Blues.
Yeah, so I mean, there's been a lot of great athletes to come out of this area. Brian Leonard.
Yep. I remember making the trip up to Governor on when he was drafted. Actually, when he went to, when he was drafted.
I remember that.
Drove up, beat all sorts of speed records
to get back.
Coming back, there was a reporter from I think it was SNY that was there to interview him. So I had to wait till she was done and then grab a couple of quick words and then Broke a few traffic laws on the way back, but we were able to put the video on.
Yeah, and he got drafted by the Rams, wasn't it? I think they were the St. Louis Rams at that time. Yeah. And he had a decent career as well in the NFL.
He had a good career. And don't forget now, if we look at coaches, we look at Larry Bird's old teammate with the Boston Celtics, Rick Carlisle, and he's got his Pacers playing well. They just eliminated the Bucks. They're moving on to the next round. So he's.
Rick Carlisle's done a great job wherever he's gone, and he was in that Celtics culture for so long. I think he took a lot from that, and it carried over into his coaching career. And one other coach we got to mention, who's been up for the Hall of Fame for the last couple of years, but hasn't quite made it. Jerry Welsh.
Yeah, Potsdam.
What a job he did at Potsdam.
Oh yeah, tremendous. Had some tremendous players. A nice streak of different titles over the years. I mean, he had a very good program, and there's stories. Now he lives was living in the Carolina area. I take it he still is.
Yeah.
And would show up to like Duke practices just to show up and watch practice and stuff like that. He had that pull in order to do that, but it was because of the success he had as a basketball coach at the Division III level.
And then he went on to Division I and coached at Iona, and his son Tim followed him along. And then when Jerry had to step down because of health concerns, Tim took over the program. Tim had a decent coaching career in Division I as well.
Yeah, including at Providence.
Yes.
And now he's, I listen to him every so often on Sirius Radio doing interviews. He's covering basketball as a broadcaster, and he's had a great career of his own. So.
Yeah, it's just amazing how all this comes full circle. Just you bring up programs and names, and all the success that they've had on the court and off the court.
Teams this year. Do you see anybody locally that I'm looking at Lowville baseball, and then they came off a good win the other day against South Jeff. I don't know how far they can go, but Coach Capone there is doing a great job with the Raiders.
And I think Beaver River baseball as well.
Yeah.
Also off to a good start, and you talk, you talk lacrosse, girls lacrosse, South Jeff obviously. I mean, I think they have a chance to make a deep run. I think the Watertown boys have a chance to make a deep run in the postseason. Up north, there's several Section 10 teams that, on the baseball and softball diamond that, could make deep runs in states as well. So, we're starting to head into the home stretch now. It's almost May, and, we're getting close to the end of the regular season, playoffs getting ready to start.
Well, you mentioned it. I mean, it's going to be a busy May is a busy month. For one thing, the weather was so terrible at the beginning of the season that a lot of games were postponed. Now they've got to make them all up. They got to play sometimes 3-4 times a week.
Yeah, double headers
to get games in. So there's going to be a stretch of plenty of local sports to talk about. That's for sure. And everybody's off vacation, so they should be nice and rested. Except for those folks that played at Myrtle Beach, and ready to go.
And we record today when we're recording this. It's Wednesday, so yesterday, which was Tuesday, seemed like summer. It was 80 degrees out, gorgeous. Beautiful. Today it's Wednesday, going out to shoot some baseball in my winter coat, my gloves. It's 40-something degrees out, so I mean the weather's just all over the place.
And as far as what the rest of the week's going to be like. Oh wait, I can't. I can't do that. We've already got people that are here that do the weather. I don't want to cut into anybody else's job.
There you go.
By giving you the forecast for the rest of the week. Hey, we appreciate you being with us. We appreciate Ashley Seabolt, swimmer, hockey player, athlete extraordinaire.
Devils fan.
Well, okay.
Hey, 2 out of 3. Bringing that up.
2 out of 3 is not bad. No, she's actually suffering with her beloved Devils.
I know.
And it'll be interesting to see what shakes out there. But we appreciate you being with us. 315 Local Bakery and Diner in Alexandria Bay. Tell them we sent you. They may charge you double, but tell them we sent you. And just tell them that we said hi, and it's a great place to do business with.
Absolutely.
And they support local sports, so you got to love that.
Yep.
Rob, thank you. Ashley, thank you. Folks out there, thanks for watching.